Hi everyone, this is Marianne and welcome to my channel. In one of my previous videos, I showed my planner stack for 2023, and that stack includes a bound notebook inside a Hobonichi cover that functions purely as my journal. I will link that video in the description box. And then, a few days later after that, I decided to make a life notebook, which includes a section for my journal. I have a video about the life notebook, which I will also link down below. You can watch it if you want more details, but the plan is to finish writing in the bound journal before I can transfer my journaling into the life notebook. This made me excited to journal in the bound notebook so that I can finish it up faster. And I have also since then expanded the Life Notebook. It is now on expander discs and also has more sections in it, and two pen loops, one for a fountain pen and one for a mechanical pencil, and also a snap cover. It is going to be a workhorse notebook, and of course it still has a section for journaling. And this made me even more excited to transfer my journaling into the Life Notebook, which means I now have extra motivation to finish up the remaining pages in my bound journal even faster. I also have a video about expanding this notebook, and I will link it down below. And by the way, if you can hear some kind of white noise in the background, that is the sound of the rain outside. It is raining quite hard at the moment as I am recording this voiceover, and I really like it. I have a bunch of rain videos on my channel that you might like to watch. I will link them in the description box. Here is the bound journal right now, and this is the Unplanned Life Notebook with a unique serial number 002. I made this notebook myself by hand. The pages are made of Elias paper, which is fountain pen friendly. I do have a video on my channel comparing Elias paper with a Midori MD paper, and I will link it down below. I like Elias paper a lot because it is made to work specifically with fountain pens, and it is Philippine made. And this also means that I don't have to pay tons of money just for shipping. And the cost of the paper itself is significantly lower than the cost of the Midori MD paper. And I also feel that it's even slightly thicker than the Midori paper, but I have no way of making the measurement. I started journaling in this bound notebook, the Unplanned Life Notebook, on June 7, 2021, and I am still on this notebook because I have not been journaling much, obviously. And this notebook has only 300 pages. Even if I had journaled for just one page a day, it would have taken me less than a year to finish writing in this notebook. Or even faster, considering that I also paste some of my memorabilia in here. But I haven't journaled much, you guys. I know I should have. It would have helped me a lot going through what I have gone through in 2021 and especially in 2022. But I did survive without journaling. Maybe I survived because I was also writing the final 4 chapters of my first novel in 2022 anyway, and maybe writing that was a life-saving act for me, so maybe journaling was not necessary. I don't really know and I cannot tell, but what is important is that I survived and I finished writing my first novel. But I am back to journaling now, and I am already past the halfway point of this notebook, as you can see. And I do journal every day now because remember, my daily schedule includes an hour of journaling every day at a specific time of the day. And I do have a video about my daily schedule that I printed on a semi-transparent overlay sheet that I laminated, and I will link that video down below. This is that overlay. This goes over or on top of my 24-hour time tracking sheet on my planner. There is a 1 hour that should be devoted to journaling every day, as you can see here. Sometimes I don't really follow this schedule strictly. Sometimes it is scooched up because sometimes I wake up at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. and could not get back to sleep, so I get out of bed and start my day. But the things in here do end up getting done for the most part, and I consider that progress. So far, it's going well with the journaling. Some days are more difficult than others, mainly because there are some things I need to face about myself, but I don't want to face. So I have to summon the courage to face it, and I am not always successful. I really need to do my shadow work. I have done that before, many, many years ago, before I even knew what it was called. But for the past couple of years, aside from not journaling at all, whenever I did journal, I did not do the shadow work, even when it was very clear that shadow work needed to be done very badly. Now I just don't want to put it off anymore. I need to do it. I have even been watching some very helpful videos about shadow work on YouTube. I will be sharing those links with you in the description box. Those videos are also helping to motivate me to do my journaling and not just the shadow work. And I even took some notes, which I have kept here in my journal section that's in my life notebook, because I really intend to do the shadow work, and I have already done some of it. Now, to further motivate me to journal, I have inked up my remaining fountain pens, the ones that I did not let go of during my great pen destash of 2020, plus a couple of pens that I have recently purchased because I wanted to try them out with the shimmering inks. These pens here are all inked with various colors and brands. And to keep track of what ink is in what pen, I even made some tracking sheets for fountain pens and inks. And they are ready to go into my life notebook, which is disc bound. As you can see, the holes are punched. But for now, I just keep these in the pages of the bound journal because this journal is what I use every day for journaling at the moment. In another video, I will show these pens and inks in better detail. Maybe I can come up with a currently inked video. As for the tracking sheets, this is how I plan to make this work. When the pen no longer contains the ink that is listed here, meaning if the pen and ink combination no longer exists, I can just put a gray line here at the side using my gray Zig Clean Color Real Brush pen. This is number 094, called Gray Brown, to make it easier for me to see which combo no longer exists, so that I won't have to look closer at the sheet just to find the end date that's on this line right here. I did not like this dusky pink ink. It looks very pretty, but it was very light. Even with a wet writing pen, I have tried it, but it was still way too light. Even my handwriting did not look even or straight because the ink was too light and was putting me off a little bit. So I used the ink for only 2 days, then dumped the ink, and then loaded the same pen with a different ink, which I have then logged here. See? Same pen, different ink. And these tracking sheets can eventually go into my archive as well as a nice record of the inks and pens that I have used at this specific point in my life. And I know the cup that I am using as a pen holder is filthy and cracked, so let me just change it. There, I've already changed it. Please don't come for me in the comments. I also found an online source of some of the most wonderful samples of fountain pen inks. I will link the store in the description box, but I have purchased a few samples initially from the shop, and after I have received my order, which shipped really fast and was delivered quickly, I ordered even more. Now, I used to buy the full-sized glass bottles of fountain pen inks. I used to have a whole collection, and I even have a 2-part video on my channel about all of my fountain pen inks. Part 1 was all of the inks in bottles, and Part 2 was all of the inks in the vials. I will link both of those videos in the description box. But over the course of many years, maybe almost 2 decades, I have never finished using up a bottle of ink. Never. Except for Noodler's Zhivago, for which I have finished using 3 bottles over the years because it was my favorite ink that I used for everything. But all other bottles just sat there. I used the inks from time to time, but I have never finished up another bottle of ink. And it was a good thing I stored them all properly. I kept them in a dark place inside a cool room, even inside their own original boxes, so none of them turned bad. So a couple of years ago, I managed to destash almost my entire collection of inks in bottles. What remained were the inks in the vials. And I really love keeping only the vials. These are super affordable. Each ink sample is more or less around 3 milliliters of ink, and that's good enough for several refills if you use a converter, and maybe 3 refills if you use a piston filler pen, which carries more ink. I get to buy a bunch of different inks across different brands in a single purchase and not have to worry about it costing too much. And there is absolutely no pressure to write for the reason that I bought the expensive bottle and now I must use it to justify my purchase. And knowing my pattern, after using it for a while, the bottle is just going to sit in storage, not being used because I feel like I must move on to the other bottles of ink that I also purchased and at an expensive price. It's kind of frustrating a little bit. But with sample vials of ink, there is none of that drama. I buy a bunch, I toss them in here, I use them whenever. There is absolutely no pressure to use them, but ironically, specifically because there is no pressure to use them, I end up using them more and I end up using them also more happily. I suspect that there is a psychology to that. Well, I think there must be, but I can't explain it in a scientific way. I'm just here to enjoy the whole thing. And the vials are so easy to store. I just throw everything into this zippy bag, throw this bag into a drawer, and that is it. I don't even organize this. I don't feel like I need to. Sometimes I end up purchasing a sample that I have forgotten that I already have, but that's okay. These are super cheap, and I know I can use up all of these in due time. Everything will end up being used. Although I think I need to make an inventory just so I know what I actually have and what I don't have, so I can buy those next time as I move along with this journaling thing habit. And as I try out more ink, I do plan to share some swatching videos and review videos on my channel. I already have 2 different inks lined up to make videos of. So if you're interested in fountain pen inks, please make sure that you are subscribed to my channel and that you click on the notification bell so that you will get an alert as soon as those videos about fountain pen inks are up. When I eventually transfer my journaling to the Life Notebook, they will go here, right behind the divider for journal. And these are the pages that I have placed on here in preparation for the move. And it's just an assortment of papers that are fountain pen friendly. I have discussed the writing guides in my first video about the Life Notebook, specifically why I have this vertical line down here. And as for archiving, I will just transfer the used pages to an archive volume that is also discbound until I am ready to scan them in high-resolution images and then shred the originals. Yes, I do destroy my old planners and journals, and I have a video explaining why, which I will link down below. I can just use my plastic discs that I store in this zippy bag as a temporary archive for my journal pages. I have a video about how I organize my discs, and I will link it down below. Now, here's some of my parting words. If there is something that you should do or which you want to do, but it gives you some anxiety or a little bit of trepidation, just get yourself excited about the task by getting yourself excited about the tools you will be needing for the task. So right now, journaling can be both scary and exciting for me, and fulfilling and meaningful, but also harrowing and exhausting and draining. but that is something that I have to accept when I am facing my deepest issues. Whenever it is time to journal, I just tell myself that I get to use my fountain pens and inks on beautiful paper on this notebook with the Hobonichi covers that I super love. And I do have a collection of A5 sized Hobonichi covers. I will link videos down below. And when this notebook is finished, I can move my journaling to the Life notebook, which I am really excited about because it has an assortment of papers that I really like, and I like the chunky, I like the sweater themed covers and dividers, and I like the snap covers. So that right now is the current state of my journaling life. That is all I can talk about the topic for now. Maybe as I go along, I can share some of the new things that I will have learned or what my experience is going. I don't really know. But I am uploading this video now because perhaps you're feeling some anxiety about journaling, but you also know that journaling is essential to your mental health and personal spiritual growth. So my tip for you is use the tools that you will be excited to use. Bust out the pretty notebooks, take out the pretty pens. It doesn't have to be a fountain pen, just pens that you enjoy using. Or if you're already so inundated with the fancy notebooks and pens and you're so sick and tired of them, just go back to the very, very, very basic, a simple notebook and a pencil or a ballpoint pen. Maybe that change will excite you. Whatever gets you excited, use that. And my final words for everyone who is going through some difficult things right now, please remember that all things pass. And I believe that we all have the ability to weather through any storm that comes our way. We just need to decide that we are going to get through the storm. Everything will be okay. I hope this video was helpful. Thanks for watching. Bye.